We asked our guests to tell us a story about a disastrous performance that might have started off good, went a bit bad, and eventually just turned out to be ugly. Does anything pop into your head?
The very first one that pops into my head. Oh man. Yeah, this is the worst one that I think I've ever done. I was in college, and I was working corporate, and I was working at the time. It was busy. At the time, I was really, really hustling. So I would go work at an IHOP in the morning. Like, you guys have IHOP out there, International House of Pancakes. So I would go work at an IHOP in the morning. I would do that, leave the IHOP, and I would go to this flea market. And then my buddy had a magic shop in a flea market. And so I would go behind the counter and go help sell magic. I would leave the flea market, head to like a Chili. You guys know what Chili's is? Chili's Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
I would head to this restaurant, Chili's, and I was their magician for like 4 years, something like that. I would do magic from there. And then if it wasn't that, then I would head from the shop and go busk at this boardwalk that was out by the water. And I would go busk and do like straight jacket and fire eating and stuff like that. So I was in the middle of doing all this stuff and going to college, and still broke. So I remember I got a phone call. Somebody saw me. I used to do this event. I used to do this thing. This company used to do like dream parties. So they would come up with these crazy parties, and like they would call me to like try to like help design the party and be a magician there, right? And so I got called. This lady saw me at this party, and she was like, "We have to have you at." And I was doing close up. She's like, "We have to have you at our corporate Christmas party." And I was like, "I'm in, I'm down, I'm doing it." And it was for Walmart, right? So it was a huge corporate Christmas party for Walmart. And so this is so awesome. I remember they wanted me to do 20 minutes on stage, and then do walk around for 30 minutes after. And so I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. No idea if I could or not. Like, I was just like, and so I remember I call like my two best friends, and I'm like, hey, I've got to do this show. Like, do you guys want to help out with lights and shit like that? And they're like, yeah, let's, you're fine. And so I remember like my dad and I built this dope, like, shade illusion type thing, like that out of I think it was like out of Mark Wilson or something like that. But like these like shades with like a light, and like I had a knife that was going to cut through all this stuff. I was doing like a floating candy cane. I had like this rocky bit. I did the snowstorm thing. I can't remember everything. And the reason I can't remember is because I had never done a stage show before. I had a dub act that I used to do when I was younger, and I hadn't done that in years. You know what I mean? So I didn't have like a stage act. And I remember it rained on the way to the place, and I was in a truck with the screens. So it ruined the screens. I get there. I'm like, don't worry about it. You got this, bro. It's all good. And I remember Jesus, how old was I? 17? No, it was college. So 18? It was either 18 or 19. And so I show up. They're excited. I go to the stage. I'm setting up my stuff. Like, my buddy's running lights. I've got like this little mini fog machine. It's awesome. And I remember I'm on stage, and I was on for probably 5 minutes, and I felt it. Like, I knew that I was going to bomb. Like, I felt it. Like, I did not have the crowd talking to 2,000 people or whatever it is completely different than talking to 20. You know what I mean? And so, and I know that now. And so I remember after like 5 minutes, I was like, this is not going anywhere. This is definitely not going, like, this is not good. Like, I knew it. I knew it wasn't good. I was completely terrible. And I remember I struggled through 20 minutes. I think I actually maybe only did 10 to 15, to be honest with you. And I remember I think I had a snowstorm at the very end is what it was. A red and white snowstorm with a candy cane, I think. So I don't remember. It was really bad, whatever it was. And so I remember I do this thing, and I finish, and it was like a movie. It was like what did we just watch, right? And I remember I finished. I am super embarrassed, obviously, right? I'm just completely embarrassed. I feel terrible. Like, I'm like, man, and I had a really, like, I had a, not like I wasn't a huge ego, but like I was like, because I was already like people in my hometown and like in Houston and all that were like, there was only a few like young magicians that were like coming up with their own stuff and like working and gigging and this kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like I'd already kind of like not a reputation, but like in that community, you know what I mean? It was just like this kind of younger, cocky kind of, kid who could, do magic. And so like my ego was just smashed so bad. And the next day I get a phone call and I had booked this strolling gig for another big corporate event and they canceled the gig the next day. Because a person, the lady's husband worked for this company. She worked at Walmart. And so they were at the party and they were like, we are not using this dude. Like, we are not using the guy. So crazy. And then they ended up hiring like this dude that was like an uncle or something like that. And the show was with like Banachek. Like Banachek was one of the magicians there. Like this other gig that got canceled. And so they ended up hiring this little guy who ended up like, it was like this older guy who was like, I can do magic. And he like did the diamond penny with a little red block. He just did that, and the little imp bought it at every single table. And so, which I mean, more power to him, bro. Like, right on. But I remember I was like, oh, why did that happen? I've been nervous ever since because of that. I mean, I'm super comfortable on stage now, but I still think every single time I think about specifically the last time I was, who was it? Wayne Dobson contacted me for Blackpool a couple years ago and wanted me to close his Wayne Dobson and Friends show. Mm-hmm. And I was super honored. Like I was like, oh man, it made my heart sing, like, because that dude's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, I want you to close this thing. And so I was like, right on. Well, it was right when I landed. So I remember getting off of the plane and it's my best friend. I think my ex was with me. I think that's it. And I remember we take off from the airport, got to go through customs, I haven't gone to the hotel or anything. I've got like my luggage. And I remember getting out of the cab. I think it was the black car. The black car took us up to the front of the entrance of the Blackpool. What was that place called? I can't remember what that place is called. Took me there, dropped it off. I remember going in, saying hi to people, taking photos really fast, and like I gotta go. And my buddy Alex is so dope. Like he's amazing because he's like a security guard / like he's like a father in himself. He's just like, get out of the way. He's doing a show. And so you never felt more like a rock star unless you have like one of your best friends like with you to make you feel like a rock star.
Your back.
And I remember going in and dropping my bags, getting mic'd up, and like because the show I was going on, and I literally was the next person up in this gig straight off the plane with a 16, 17-hour flight. And I remember standing on the stairs and going, oh man, don't let this be like Walmart. Don't let this be like Walmart. That was years ago, man.
Have you ever worked for Walmart since?
Who?
If anybody in Walmart's watching, he's a great performer.
Oh man, I don't. I mean, it's obviously that was a long time ago. So I've done plenty since then. But that was the one, man. That was the one still to this day that was just like, ooh, that hurt.